Hey friends, it's been a minute since I last made a study tips video, but here I am back with another topic that I think will be useful for everybody who has started the new academic year recently or who is going to soon, because I'm going to talk about how I take notes in and after class that help me revise for the final exams. So first of all, there is no one-fits-all method when it comes to note-taking. Every class and every professor require a different style, and you will have to spend the first 2 or 3 weeks of each new semester to figure out what works best for each class. The first decision I have to make is, will I be taking notes on paper or digitally, and if so, will I be using a tablet and a stylus or type them on a laptop? There are so many advantages and disadvantages to every method that would be enough for a separate video, but I think the main two advantages that I want to mention here are that typing is a lot faster, which is important when you have a professor that talks very fast. And then the second thing is that type notes can be edited easily, whereas handwritten notes, whether digital or on paper, are hard to edit afterwards. So that's that. But then on the other hand, if you write your notes by hand, you'll probably retain the materials better. So for me, I would say about 99% of my notes are typed, and sometimes I do write by hand, but then that's on my iPad. Another thing to think about is, what will the final examination look like if there is one? Is it going to be an open question or single choice, multiple choice exam, where it is important that I know all the information that was discussed in class? Or do I have to submit a final paper where the details of each topic discussed in class are not that important, but you have to understand the concept? So this will decide about your note-taking style as well. Now, provided that we're talking about a class that has a final examination at the end, here's what I usually do. During the first 2 or so weeks of classes, I always bring both my laptop and my iPad to class so I can decide on the spot what I'm going to do. If the professor provides any PowerPoint slides or a script before class, what I will do is I will import it into GoodNotes app and then annotate the slides with my Apple Pencil. And side note, my handwriting is really ugly then, because I just try to write as fast as I can and catch all the important information. Now, if the lecturer does not provide any slides at all, I will always type my notes because that's much faster, and then include a reference to the slide that they have on the screen. And I usually create one Word document per class in which I continuously type my notes. Now, those two types of notes, the annotated lecture slides or typed notes, are just my rough sketches, but I can't study off of such a mess. So what I will do after class is, and by after class I mean as soon as possible after class, at best on the same day when you still remember the details, I will type the notes neatly into a Word document. But by neat, I don't mean to just copy and paste the text and just make it look nice, but instead, if I have those slides, I will use the bullet points that the professor wrote on the slides as a basis and then add my own notes. And what's most important here, I immediately make sure that everything I write down makes sense to me. So that is super important, because if anything doesn't make sense, if I don't understand a concept, or if I feel like I'm missing information, I try to fill those gaps immediately by either having a look into the textbook or doing a quick Google search and then adding those extra information into my notes. And if it still doesn't make sense, I will ask the professor next session or write them an email or whatever. And this is probably the most important part of the after class note-taking process, because not only does it ensure that I don't have to start filling gaps like the week before the exam when it might be too late, but it also helps consolidate the material because I've already actively engaged with it. Okay, now what about graphs or pictures? I only add those if they provide value. That means if there's an important text in them, or if they help my understanding, if the professor has stressed them, whatever. But I don't add pictures for aesthetic reasons. That's the inner monk in me telling me to save space on my Word document. And being able to add graphics is definitely another advantage of digital note-taking. Okay, so now you might be asking, but what do your notes actually look like? And that's a valid question, because there are tons of different note-taking styles out there. For example, the Cornell method and so many others, but the note-taking style I prefer is really plain and simple. It's just bullet points. So this is what my notes will look like. The first bullet point will be the main argument. 1, Then indented would be a sub-argument supporting the main argument. And then again, indented would be an example to the sub-argument, another example, or whatever. So yeah, I think you get the point of bullet points and indenting. With this structure, it's instantly clear to me how the arguments, sub-arguments, examples, etc. are related to each other. And if you didn't know, Shift plus asterisk is the shortcut for a bullet point, so it is very convenient and very fast to make one while you're typing your notes in class so that you can already give them some structure. I will then add any graphics and maybe even add some color to my notes. And this is what the final result might look like. So in case you're wondering why all those graphics are so small, I usually don't print my notes, but I export them as a PDF and then import them into GoodNotes on my iPad and study directly off the iPad to save paper and to be able to take my notes anywhere, highlight, erase, and stuff like that. So on my iPad, I can zoom into the graphics so I can actually read what they say so they don't have to waste that much space in my document. And that is what works for me. I slightly adjust this to every class I'm taking, of course, but this is the basic method of note-taking that I have been using for the past couple years of university and that have been working really well for me. So let me know in the comments what your favorite note-taking method is, or if you have any questions regarding mine. And if you think this video was helpful for you, then please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing for more study tips and college life videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.